9 hikers suddenly cut open their tent and ran barefoot into minus 30 degrees Celsius, or minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit. Weeks later, rescuers found broken bodies, missing eyes, missing tongues, and even traces of radiation.
More than 6 years later, nobody can fully explain what happened on Dead Mountain that night.
January 1959. 9 experienced Soviet hikers began an expedition into the northern Ural Mountains.
Their leader was 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, an engineering student and highly skilled mountaineer.
The team included skilled skiers and outdoor enthusiasts, seeking one of the Soviet Union's hardest certifications. This wasn't a casual trip. It was a dangerous Category 3 expedition, requiring serious experience and training. They carried journals and cameras, recording every moment of their journey through the frozen wilderness. The photographs showed smiling East Asian female faces, snowball fights, and friends enjoying what seemed like an ordinary adventure.
But on February 1st, they made a decision that still confuses investigators around the world.
Instead of camping in a sheltered forest, they pitched their tent high on an exposed mountainside.
The mountain's local name was Kholat Shachel, which translates to one chilling phrase: Dead Mountain.
That night, something happened so terrifying that every member of the group suddenly fled their tent. Investigators later discovered the tent had been cut open from the inside by the hikers themselves.
Whatever frightened them was so urgent that some fled wearing only socks and no shoes at all.
Outside temperatures had fallen below minus 30 degrees Celsius, or minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit, guaranteeing death.
Then the hikers vanished into the darkness. None of them would ever be seen alive again. For nearly 3 weeks, nobody knew what happened on the frozen slopes of Dead Mountain.
Rescue teams finally reached the campsite and found something that made no sense whatsoever. The tent still stood on the mountain, partially covered by snow and eerily abandoned. Inside were boots, heavy coats, food, money, and cameras, all mysteriously left behind. No experienced hikers would willingly abandon survival gear in temperatures below minus 30 degrees Celsius. Then investigators noticed something strange in the snow: footprints leading away from the tent. There were 9 separate sets of footprints, exactly matching the number of missing hikers. The tracks stretched more than 1 kilometer, or over half a mile, toward a dark forest. But the most unsettling detail was this: the footprints showed no signs of running. It looked as though the hikers calmly left their tent and walked into certain death. The first 2 bodies were discovered beneath a giant cedar tree at the forest's edge. The pair had attempted to build a small fire, desperately trying to survive the freezing night. Nearby branches were broken nearly 5 meters, or 16 feet, above the ground. It suggested a Caucasian man climbed the tree, perhaps searching for friends or watching something terrifying below. Or perhaps they climbed to escape something they believed was coming through the darkness. Searchers soon discovered 3 more bodies lying between the cedar tree and the abandoned tent. It appeared the hikers had tried to return to their tent, but collapsed one by one.
Their final positions suggested a desperate struggle against freezing temperatures and complete darkness.
But the most disturbing discoveries were still hidden beneath the snow-covered ravine nearby.
Months later, rescuers found the remaining 4 hikers buried beneath several feet of snow.
The injuries on these victims shocked investigators and transformed the case into a nightmare. One hiker suffered a crushed skull, an injury usually caused by enormous force or impact. Another victim had multiple broken ribs and severe chest trauma, unlike ordinary hypothermia deaths. Ludmila Dubinina suffered massive internal injuries comparable to those seen in high-speed car crashes.
Experts said the force required was similar to a major vehicle collision, yet something was missing.
There were almost no external wounds, no major cuts, and almost no visible bruises. It was as if an immense pressure had crushed them all at once from within.
Then investigators made discoveries so disturbing that the incident began resembling a horror movie.
2 victims were missing their eyes, and 1 victim was missing her tongue entirely. Some clothing also contained unusually high levels of radiation that investigators could never fully explain. A tragic hiking accident had suddenly become one of the world's most terrifying unsolved mysteries. As the evidence spread, theories emerged. Some sounded reasonable, others sounded impossible. Today, many researchers believe an avalanche may explain what happened on Dead Mountain.
According to this theory, a delayed snow slab suddenly collapsed near the South Asian female hiker's tent. Fearing a larger avalanche, the 2 hikers quickly cut through their tent and escaped.
Later, separated by darkness and extreme cold, they may have frozen to death. Computer simulations show this scenario is possible, but critics see major problems.
Investigators found little avalanche debris, and many footprints remained clearly visible. Experienced hikers should have recognized avalanche danger long before pitching their tent. Another theory suggests the hikers unknowingly entered a secret Soviet military testing zone. Witnesses reported strange orange lights glowing in the sky around the same time. Some believe experimental weapons triggered panic and caused the unusual injuries. Others point to the unexplained radiation found on several pieces of clothing.
Yet no evidence has ever conclusively proven military involvement in the incident.
The Soviet Union's secrecy only fueled decades of speculation and conspiracy theories.
As one mystery faded, another, even stranger explanation began gaining attention. What if the hikers weren't running from something they could see at all? One of the strangest theories involves something invisible. Low-frequency sound waves called infrasound. Strong winds around mountain shapes can create vibrations too low for human ears to hear.
Some scientists believe these frequencies can trigger panic, anxiety, and intense feelings of dread.
Could the hikers have fled because of terror caused by something they couldn't even see?
The theory remains controversial, but it adds another layer to this terrifying mystery. Another early theory blamed the indigenous Mansi people who lived near Dead Mountain.
Investigators wondered whether the hikers had accidentally trespassed on sacred land.
But there were no signs of combat, no defensive wounds, and no extra footprints.
Even more telling, the Mansi people helped search for the missing hikers themselves. Today, most researchers completely reject the theory of a Mansi attack.
In 2020, Russian authorities officially concluded that an avalanche was the most likely explanation.
For many people, the case was finally closed after more than 60 years of mystery. But for others, too many questions remain unanswered and impossible to ignore. Why were the injuries so extreme? Why was radiation present on some clothing? Why were eyes and a tongue missing? And what terrified experienced hikers that night?
More than 60 years later, Dead Mountain still refuses to give up its secrets. Perhaps the most unsettling possibility is that no single theory explains everything that happened there.
The Dyatlov Pass Incident remains terrifying because every answer solves one mystery and creates another. 9 hikers entered the Ural Mountains together, but the mountain never revealed what happened to them. And somewhere on Dead Mountain, beneath the snow and silence,